Hi guys, I am Satyam, finally a mechanical engineering student of Delhi Technological University, and I am here to share my experience with Barclays. First of all, I would like to thank Placement Board for this great initiative of theirs to train you guys for placements. Barclays Shared Services visited our campus in October, and they offered the business analyst profile BA2 position in their company. So basically, what Barclays Shared Services does is it analyzes the operations of the entire Barclays Global Bank PLC, and it is a fully owned subsidiary of Barclays PLC. It has its offices in Noida, Chennai, Mumbai, South Africa. So the placement process of Barclays comprised of 5 steps. First was percentage-based shortlisting, then written round, then a GD round, and 2 interviews. First was a puzzle-based interview, and then a final HR interview. So 400 students had applied for Barclays Shared Services initially, and basically they had a percentage-based shortlisting. So 30% of every branch was shortlisted for the written round. In the written round, they had questions on. It was basically a 20 minutes written round with 20 questions, 20 or 30, I do not remember. So there were simple questions on probability theory, permutations, and general logical questions, and 2-3 English questions. So next up, there was a GD round. Uh, Out of the 120 who had given the written test, 40 were selected for the GD round. In the GD round, there were 5 groups of 8 people each, and everybody had 10 minutes to talk. So our topic was, should engineers be banned from getting banking jobs? So basically, in my GD, uh, we had 2 moderators, and 3 girls were basically dominating the GD. But what they were doing was they were repeating their points again and again. So the interviewers did not want that. Basically, if you made, you had to stick to the point. What I did, I just spoke 3 times in the 10 minutes, and I was selected. I just made my points thrice. That's all. You should not go on repeating the same things again and again or making irrelevant points. You should just to stick to what's important. So basically, next was the puzzle-based interview. Out of the 40 from the GD round, only 16 had made to the stage. So in the puzzle interview, it first began with a brief introduction. Tell me about yourself, and then they asked me certain behavioral questions and situational questions that I had faced. So basically, they asked me if I was in a crisis situation, or if I had handled a very critical situation in my life or in my BTech so far. So I had actually, so it proved to be an advantage. Next up, they asked me one if I had done coding in 12th class in my life. So I hadn't. So they were fine with it, but since I had done it in 12th class, they asked me to write an algorithm, which I did write. It was a very simple question, and it took me a certain amount of time to do it, but they were cool with it. And basically, while making that algorithm, I was uh, telling them what's going on in my mind. So it was, the communication gap was not there. So that proved to be an advantage. Then there were 3 or 4 puzzles. Basically, you have 5 8s and you have to make 1,000 out of it. Okay, and you have another puzzle was you have 2 candles, and you have to measure 30 minutes from them. The candles, basically individually one candle lasts for 60 minutes. So finally, there was an HR interview with a senior manager and a senior HR, which lasted about 35 minutes. In the HR round, they weren't asking questions from the resume. Basically, they wanted to analyze your personality and how you think. Initial questions were about the placement process itself, whether it could have been better, since it had spanned down to it had spanned for 2 days. So they asked me if I could make it better, and then they asked me which companies have I sat for, and why I am sitting for Barclays, and why not going for a mechanical company, and why is it why is it that I am sitting for Barclays. So and they were grilling me a lot on it. It was basically they were trying to make me stressed about my decisions and make me think why. But I was well prepared for it, and I just gave them logical answers about why I feel to go for a banking company. Then they asked me a little about what I learned from my internships, and they did catch me on certain companies which were compulsory. I did not sit for the mass recruiters, so they asked me why I did not sit for the mass recruiters. But I was strict about it that I did not want to go into software companies. So I told them that, and they were fine with it. So my single best advice to you would be to prepare the behavioral questions a lot and be clear about what you want in your life and why you are sitting for that company and why that company helps you to go where you want to go in your life. For any queries, do subscribe the channel from the link below, and we'll make sure that your queries are answered.